Have you ever found yourself sitting at your desk, headphones on, finger hovering over the playback speed button, and, without even thinking about it, you click it? 1. 5x, then 2x, and suddenly the video that would have taken 20 minutes now takes 10, and you feel this strange mixture of relief and guilt washing over you. You watch the lecturer's mouth move at an almost comical pace, the words rushing past like cars on a highway, but somehow, you're keeping up. You're absorbing it. You're even enjoying the efficiency of it all. But then someone walks by, glances at your screen, and laughs. "You watch everything that fast?" they ask, and there's this tone in their voice, like you've just admitted to microwaving gourmet food or speed-reading poetry. And here's the thing, you do keep up. While others are pausing, rewinding, taking notes at half the pace, you're 3 videos ahead, synthesizing information, connecting dots, moving forward. But on the outside, you smile politely, maybe make a joke about being impatient, about living in a fast-paced world. You don't mention the discomfort you feel watching anything at normal speed now, how it feels like wading through honey, how your mind starts to wander because there's too much space between the words, too much dead air. You don't talk about how 2x speed actually helps you focus, how the density of information matches the speed of your thoughts. You wonder if something is wrong with you. Are you too impatient? Too scattered? Is this just another symptom of a dopamine-fried attention span, another casualty of the internet age? Maybe you're missing something important by rushing through. Maybe you're not really learning. Maybe you're just broken. But what if this isn't impatience? What if this isn't evidence of a damaged attention span or a superficial approach to learning? What if watching videos at 2x speed isn't about rushing through life, but about finally matching the external pace to the internal tempo that's been running at high speed your entire life? What if you're not broken at all, but simply operating at a frequency most people never access? When people discover you watch videos at double speed, they react. Sometimes it's amusement, a raised eyebrow, a chuckle, a comment about kids these days. Sometimes it's judgment, suggestions that you're not really absorbing the material, that you're cutting corners, that you're emblematic of everything wrong with modern attention spans. They'll say you're missing the nuance, skipping the depth, treating education like fast food. They might even suggest you're disrespecting the creator's intended pacing, that you're consuming rather than experiencing. The assumptions pile up quickly. You must be impatient. You must have ADHD. You must be addicted to stimulation. You're probably shallow in your learning. You can't sit still. You don't appreciate craftsmanship. You're always rushing, never present, never satisfied with the moment as it is. People assume that faster consumption equals superficial engagement, that speed and depth are inversely related, that to understand something properly, you must take it slowly, deliberately, at the pace someone else decided was normal. But here's the truth they're missing. For many fast-speed viewers, the opposite is true. Normal speed isn't meditative, it's excruciating. It's not careful attention, it's forced waiting. Your brain processes language and synthesizes concepts faster than most video creators speak. At 1x speed, there's too much time between ideas, too much filler, too much space where your mind starts generating tangential thoughts because it's not being fed quickly enough. At 2x speed, you're not skimming, you're finally engaging at your natural cognitive pace. You're not cutting corners, you're removing the artificial delays between you and the information. This isn't about impatience, it's about cognitive efficiency. It's about matching input speed to processing speed. Human speech evolved for real-time conversation, where pauses, repetition, and slower pacing served social functions. Turn-taking, emotional processing, relationship building. But video consumption isn't conversation, it's information transmission. And here's what's fascinating. The average person speaks at about 150 words per minute, but the average person can comprehend speech at 200 to 300 words per minute. Some studies suggest rates as high as 400 WPM for certain individuals with high processing speeds. This gap between speaking pace and comprehension capacity creates cognitive slack. Empty space that some brains tolerate easily and others find maddeningly inefficient. Neurologically, this comes down to processing speed and working memory capacity. When you watch a video at 2x speed, your brain's language processing centers, particularly Broca's area and Wernicke's area, are working harder, but not beyond capacity. For individuals with higher baseline processing speeds, this increased demand doesn't feel like strain, it feels like proper engagement. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for attention and cognitive control, remains more actively engaged because there's less downtime between pieces of information. Studies on educational video consumption have shown that comprehension doesn't significantly decrease at 1.5x or even 2x speed for many viewers, and for some, engagement actually increases because the reduced lag time between concepts prevents mind-wandering. Why does this work for some people and not others? It comes down to individual differences in cognitive processing speed and working memory. If your brain naturally processes information quickly, normal speed content creates a mismatch, like trying to sip from a water fountain that's barely trickling when you're extremely thirsty. You're capable of handling more flow, but the delivery system is limiting you. For people with slower processing speeds, or who benefit from processing time between concepts, normal speed is optimal. Neither approach is better. They're matched to different cognitive profiles. The problem isn't that you watch at 2x speed. The problem is that we've created a culture that treats one processing style as normal and the other as deviant. For many fast speed viewers, this pattern started young, though they didn't have playback controls yet. You were the kid who finished tests first, not because you rushed, but because you genuinely were done. You read ahead in textbooks because waiting for the class to move forward felt stifling. You finished the teacher's sentences in your head before they got there. And often, you were told to slow down, not because you were making mistakes, but because your pace made others uncomfortable. Teachers praised thoroughness over speed. Parents worried you weren't being careful. The message was clear: fast equals careless, slow equals thoughtful. So you learned to hide your natural tempo, to pretend you needed more time than you did, to fill the extra minutes with busy work so no one would know how quickly you'd actually finished. You internalized the idea that your processing speed was something to apologize for. Your nervous system likely runs at a higher baseline arousal level than average. Not anxious necessarily, though that can overlap, but more alert, more receptive, more ready to process incoming information. For some people, this correlates with ADHD or high intelligence or anxiety disorders, but it doesn't require any diagnosis. It's simply a constitutional tendency toward faster information processing. When external input doesn't match this internal pace, your nervous system gets restless. Not antsy necessarily, just understimulated. At 2x speed, the input rate finally matches your processing rate, and your nervous system settles into a state of flow. Paradoxically, increasing the speed decreases your internal sense of chaos. Slowing down doesn't help you focus. It scatters your attention because there's not enough input to occupy your processing capacity. Over time, you've developed a relationship with efficiency that's both practical and emotional. There's so much you want to learn, understand, explore, and time feels genuinely limited. Watching at 2x speed isn't just about saving time, it's about respecting your own hunger for knowledge. There's a deep satisfaction in consuming information at the rate your mind craves it, in feeling your comprehension keep pace with the content, in not being artificially slowed. But there's also probably some anxiety woven in, a fear of missing out, of falling behind, of not knowing enough. You might feel guilty sometimes, wondering if you're being greedy, if you should be more patient, more present. The truth is, you're navigating a real tension, honoring your natural cognitive pace while living in a world that often equates speed with superficiality. This trait shapes how you relate to the world in subtle but significant ways. You're often ahead in conversations, in understanding implications, in making connections. This can be isolating, People don't always appreciate being several steps behind in a discussion, even if you're not trying to make them feel that way. You've learned to slow yourself down socially, to wait, to let others catch up. Sometimes you feel like you're translating yourself, taking your fast-paced internal experience and rendering it at a speed others can follow. This can make you feel lonely in a strange way, not because you're alone, but because you're constantly adjusting your tempo to match a world that moves slower than you do. Watching videos at 2x speed might be one of the few places you don't have to adjust. You can just be as fast as you are. Here's the hidden shame many fast-speed viewers carry: the fear that you're faking it, that you're not really comprehending, that you're just skimming the surface, convincing yourself you understand when really you're missing the depth, the nuance, the real substance. That you're a fraud who's optimized for quantity over quality, breadth over depth. You worry that if you really understood the material, you'd want to savor it, slow down, appreciate it. And the fact that you don't want to must mean you don't really get it. When people question your comprehension, it hits this wound. Maybe they're right. Maybe you are just rushing through, collecting facts without wisdom. This shame exists because we've culturally linked speed with superficiality. We romanticize slow reading, deep work, contemplative learning. We use metaphors like savoring and digesting that imply proper understanding requires time. Fast is associated with fast food, fast fashion, fast living, all things that sacrifice quality for convenience. So when you consume information quickly, you absorb the cultural judgment that you must be doing it wrong, that you must be missing something. But here's the reframe you need. Speed and depth are not opposites, they're different dimensions. You can move quickly and comprehend deeply. In fact, for your particular cognitive style, moving quickly enables deeper comprehension because it prevents the cognitive gaps where your attention drifts. When information comes at you densely and rapidly, your mind stays engaged, making connections in real time, building understanding dynamically. This isn't shallow, it's active learning. Not passive reception, but active synthesis. Not impatience, but intellectual hunger. Not disrespect for the material, but respect for your own capacity to engage with it fully at the speed you're actually capable of processing it. You're not broken, you're not missing anything. You're learning in the way that works for your brain, and that is not only valid, it's optimal for you. For many people, learning is a slow, methodical process. They need time to pause, reflect, let concepts settle, revisit sections. They take notes extensively. They watch once, then watch again. They benefit from the natural pauses in speech, the moments of silence, the pacing that allows emotional content to land. This approach is beautiful and effective for them. It creates deep, integrated understanding through repetition and reflection. But you operate differently. Your learning process is kinetic, dynamic, forward-moving. You understand by connecting, by accumulating, by building a network of ideas rapidly, and then seeing the patterns emerge. You don't need to pause because you're processing in real time. Your comprehension keeps pace with the input. You might take fewer notes because you're integrating as you go, rather than recording for later reflection. You might not need to rewatch because the first pass at 2x speed gave you what others get from 2 viewings at 1x. Your understanding isn't shallower, it's differently constructed. It's architectural rather than archaeological. You're building as you go rather than excavating layer by layer. Both approaches are valid. Both produce real understanding. The error is assuming there's only one legitimate way to learn, and that the one that looks slowest and most laborious must be the deepest. Sometimes, the most direct path is the most effective one. Your efficiency isn't a shortcut, it's an expression of your cognitive strengths. And the fact that you can do in 10 minutes what takes others 20 isn't something to apologize for. It's something to use, not to prove anything, but to learn more, explore further, satisfy the intellectual curiosity that drives you. So, what does this mean for you going forward? It means you can stop apologizing for the way your brain works. Stop performing patience you don't need. Stop pretending that slower equals better. You have a high-efficiency cognitive system, Not in a way that makes you superior, but in a way that's simply true about how you're wired. And you get to honor that. You get to consume information at the speed that matches your comprehension. You get to use the tools available to you, playback speed, skimming, rapid reading, without shame. This also means recognizing where speed serves you and where it doesn't. There are moments when slowing down is valuable, not because you should, but because the content genuinely benefits from it. Poetry, music, emotional speeches, visual art. Content where pacing itself carries meaning. But educational content? Informational videos? Lectures? Tutorials? These are often optimized for the average processing speed, and if yours is above average, you're allowed to adjust. You're not disrespecting the creator, you're engaging with the content in the way that works for you. What this means for your identity is powerful. You are not impatient. You are not superficial. You are not damaged by technology. You are someone whose internal processing speed runs faster than standard external delivery speeds, and you found a way to bridge that gap. That's adaptation. That's self-knowledge. That's working with your cognitive strengths instead of fighting them. And in a world that will continue to produce content at a pace designed for average processing speeds, you get to keep using the tools that let you engage at your actual capacity. That's not cheating. That's optimizing for the brain you actually have. If you've read this far, and especially if you've thought, finally, someone understands, you're not alone. There are so many of us navigating the gap between how fast we think and how slowly the world typically delivers information. And there's nothing wrong with us. We're just operating at a different frequency. I want to hear from you. What do you watch at 2x speed? Are there things you still watch at normal speed? Have you ever felt judged for this, or had to defend how you learn? Drop a comment below. I read all of them, and I'd love to know your experience. And if this resonated with you, consider subscribing. This channel is about understanding the psychology behind the ways we're different. Not to fix ourselves, but to understand ourselves. You're not broken, you're just faster. And that's worth understanding.